going back to, I think we kind of just overshadowed that too quickly was the little black book, Epstein's black book. Fuck, man. Ghislaine or whatever the fuck her name, Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. I think it's Ghislaine. I finally learned how to say it.
Okay.
There was a video I watched on how to say her first name.
It's not Ghislaine?
Ghislaine, yeah. You need a British accent.
But, hey, shit's going to hit the fan, I think. I mean, probably not hit the fan in a crazy way, but shit's going to get exposed, man. And that black book already came out. There's names on it. Shit. Jay and I have even talked about delving into that a little bit. So
yeah, I would like to pick, like I looked through it. I don't know if have you.
I haven't looked through it.
Yeah, I looked through it. There's Saudi princes on there. And I've looked up just some. I went and just picked random names, and if it was a name I already knew, like I heard Woody Allen's, and I didn't see his name, but like if it was a name like that, I avoided it because that's gonna make the news.
Right.
So I was like, let's just look at these motherfuckers, see how they fly off the radar. And I told Nick we should do it where we grab these guys that. You could talk about these big wigs, Will Smith,
right.
Trump, and all these people on there, Clintons and Woody Allen, but you hear names that you ignore because you don't know who they are. But when you look them up, like one guy's head of modeling agencies, a lot of PR companies, and it gets weird, management real estate companies, huge guys. And I look these guys up, just Google their names, and they're fucking rich, and they got these huge corporations, and they're a public figure, which I bet they wish they weren't now, but you could look up their pictures, you could look up their business,
Interesting.
And I think we should pick maybe 5 or 10 of those people, maybe once a week, or maybe 3 people once a week, and just call them out. And hopefully we don't get a bullet in the back of our head. Hopefully we don't get suicided. But it's
what do you think? You think we should, or you think we shouldn't? Comment below.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, why not? But it's just fucking creepy. It's interesting, and it's like, fuck. Oh, dude. We'll talk about it some other time, but because I gotta make sure it's factual. But a guy on Reddit, before he committed suicide, he apparently worked in that organization for years as like a low-level driver.
Which organization?
Well, I don't know what you call it. The rich and popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He worked for Epstein. He worked for Rihanna.
Okay.
He worked for the Romneys. Mitt Romney ran for president, right. The Mormon family. He didn't work directly for Mitt, but he worked for Romney's. But it was just this crazy Reddit thread that he put. He said, I'm going to kill myself tonight because I'm just fucking depressed. And he just talked about being used, and he was like a low-level guy. And he was just talking about like things he had to do, from burying a body to being on Epstein's island. And he called out some names. But like I don't want to say because it could be non-factual, but one is... Roger Stone, who ran Trump's campaign and recently got arrested and let go by the FBI.
Right.
Him doing crazy shit. He has a Nixon tattoo on his back, and this guy describes, he didn't even know who he was, but saw the Nixon tattoo and then looked him up later. But so fucked up shit about that. The most fucked up shit I've heard, which I don't know, it's just a thread. And then the guy answered, he said, I'm going to he had a definitely coke habit, a bunch of drug habits that he admitted. And then he said he's going to run to the mini mart before they close, like 1 a.m., 12 or something. And he grabbed a bunch of booze, was already doing a bunch of shit, and said, I'll answer a couple questions. And then that's it. And then he answered a couple questions, and about 1:30 a.m., he went missing.
Wow.
And that was 12 hours before Ghislaine Maxwell. I fucked her name up. What was it? I already forgot. Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested.
Oh shit, dude.
So who knows if it's bullshit? Who knows? But it was the most fucked up shit I've heard about this. But I gotta check the sources.
Yeah, right. And you know what? It's automatically I would not believe it, but it doesn't surprise me. Because there's some fucking nasty motherfuckers out there, man. And especially the rich and powerful. They get away with fucking all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and he talked about that it's hard to talk about this without knowing if it's real or not. But it felt real when you're reading it because he was talking about Epstein being a nice dude. Mm-hmm. Like, he was fucked up, but he was a really nice guy. And then he would talk about like this Romney 22-year-old kid he had to fucking take care of in some mansion in Colorado was just the biggest piece of shit that he's there, and just hated this fucker. And so you're like, oh, if someone's gonna write a fake article, they probably would go out and talk about Epstein more than this kid and how awful he is and stuff. And talk about stuff with Rihanna. I never met Rihanna, but apparently Rihanna likes some young girls. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
He even said he would go pick up Molly all the time, and they gave him a drug kit. And then he had to pick up some young people sometimes. And
damn.
Prostitutes, whatever. So it's very interesting. Check it out on Reddit. You can find it if you look for it. But
I wonder if there's more people like that are going to come out, because, I mean, obviously, if this was going down, and I honestly believe it was, they had to have fucking goons You know, I wonder if more of these goons are going to be coming out.
Well, that's what he was.
Confessions.
He said I would start off as a driver for a gentleman's club, and this is total conspiracy theory. Like, this is total. I just read this last night, I think, or 2 nights ago, and it's but it's fun to talk about. It's entertaining, but it won't surprise me. But we should definitely double check this. But anyways, like, yeah, he made some allegations, and he the most insider stories I've heard, but he talked about Oscar Wilde being like Epstein's dude. You know Oscar Wilde? Mm-mm. Am I saying right? Oscar Wilder?
Maybe
Wilder? No, Oscar Wilde was a writer, and I think he was one of the first public homosexuals that came out. I don't know if he was actually fully homosexual, but I don't know if he was bi or what, but he was one of the first to come out, and he lived his life by the term, which I didn't know reading this, and I looked it up, and I'm going to butcher the word here, Hendonism, Hendonism, something like that, which Oscar Wilde preached a lot. And it's basically, how can something that feels so good be bad? And so it's that your goal in life is to increase your pleasures. Now, there's different forms of this term, where it could be physical, it could be mental, and it's taken a couple different turns over the years. But apparently Jeffrey Epstein had a conversation with this guy about it. And that, so it kind of shows how he formulated his mind. And the guy talked about, man, the dude was hollow inside and unhappy. And I think he went down this road and it was great. And then it left him, kind of alone and unhappy. And I wouldn't say he was an unhappy guy, but he felt like a hollow guy and inside. And so I looked that shit up, and I knew there had to be some type of justification. People always justify what they do. Right. They especially tragic things. They justify it. The goon justified it with money.
Right.
He said, I fucking at the most made $150,000 a year, but I started making no money at a gentleman's club, and yeah, just interesting. You'll love it, man. Look into it.
Yeah,
it's fucking gross, creepy shit, dude.
Oh, it sounds like it. And you know what? The unfortunate part about this is we strive for this shit, right? People that want to know this information, like, man, I wish someday, somebody would just come out and say some shit. And then when they do, it's like, oh, well, can we believe them? Is this true? Is this factual? And it's a fucked up scenario, because you really, really want this to happen, right? We really want to be educated on things. And when I say that, I think even about like extraterrestrials and shit like that, right? We really want to know. But when something comes out like that Navy video or whatever it was, that came out about the UFO, it's like, oh, is it real? Can I believe that? And it's like, fuck, this sucks. Like, I really want to know, but who do I believe?
Well, and they're showing, like I said, like I feel, especially in America, that they spotlight things, and you see something on the news, and a month later you see it on the street, and you're like, fuck,
right.
Like that's why I think it's important to try to connect the dots, because you could almost predict the future. But they're only showing you the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, but if that's all you're getting, you gotta look at all the tips and try to come to your own conclusion.